Welcome to the Hyper Growth Zone podcast. This is your go-to resource for personal growth, mastering communication, and influencing and persuasion techniques that will help you unleash the full potential of yourself and others. Here is your host, Alex Morgan.
Welcome to another episode of the Hyper Growth Zone podcast. My name is Alex Morgan, and I'm a master trainer of hypnosis and NLP. And let me ask you a question. Do you feel like things just randomly happen and you don't have that much control over what happens? Do things seem to just be happening to you instead of because of you? Does it feel like sometimes you're going through life without a plan and you wish you had more of a plan so that you could actually predict with much more precision and accuracy things that come and arrive in your reality? So in this episode, I'm going to explain some different things that you can do to not necessarily predict the future. Maybe you can. Maybe you can predict the future. You can make the future much more predictable, and you can get predictable results. You can design everything if you follow what I say during this episode. So I want you to think during this episode, what is it that you want to predict? What is it that's going to be predictable for you? What are you going to create? What can you design as you listen to this episode? What is something that you want? What are experiences that you want to have? So one of the things is that you need to design yourself on the inside. Because let's say that you want something to happen in your life, and you have a little lamp. A genie gives you a lamp and says, here, you have 3 wishes. If you were to rub that lamp, and lots of people have said, this is what I want. They'll rub that lamp. The wishes will come true. How many people do you think are actually ready for what comes true? For the relationships, for the success, for the money, for the family, for the house, for the car, for traveling the world, all the things that happen. How many people are truly ready for when they rub that lamp and everything that they could imagine comes through? It's almost as if you were to wake up tomorrow and a miracle happened. Anything that you didn't want, anything that you needed to resolve was not there anymore. And you woke up and everything that was there was exactly what you wanted. What would you see? What would you hear? What would you feel? Would you be ready for it? Would you be ready for everything that is there and forever? Who is there? All the things, all the experiences. Would you be ready for all of them? If you're doubting yourself even a little bit, this is because a way to make things much more predictable and a way that you can predict the future is you need to design yourself on the inside. You need to design all the attributes that you want to have. What are the emotions that you're going to feel? What are the things that you're going to think about? What are the sounds that you're going to hear? What are you going to be saying to yourself? What changes are you going to make? What behaviors are you going to have? What habits are you going to have? What is your network going to be like? The relationships that you have. You need to design the people that you're going to be speaking to, the environment that you're in, who's going to be around you, what's your living environment going to be like, and you can design this on the inside of yourself. What skills will you have that will really help you get whatever it is that you want? What resources will you have that are going to help you really get what you want? How are you going to spend your time, your money, your energy on those resources in the most efficient way? in your mentality. How are you going to think about things? Are you going to be around people who are pushing you to think even more? Are people going to think similar to you? And once you outthink the people around you, are you going to have more rooms to go to so you can outthink those too? So design everything on the inside, everything that I mentioned and even more. Design exactly what you want on the inside so that when things arrive, experiences arrive, success is there, you're ready for it. And this will make it much more predictable for you. The next thing that helps you really predict the future and gives you predictable results, because the whole thing, we don't want to leave success up to chance. We want everything to be predictable. We don't want things to randomly just happen, even though it may feel at times that things randomly just happened. And remember that miracle I talked about earlier? There's going to be many days in the future now that you wake up and things are going to be exactly as you want them. That's not up to chance, though. That's because you've designed yourself on the inside and you've decided what you want. You need to make a decision with total clarity that this is what you want. Because if you haven't decided what you wanted and resolved everything that's in the way of that decision, then what you want, it isn't necessarily going to arrive, and you're not going to be ready for it. You're not going to be able to predict the future with such precision like you want to. So you need to decide exactly what you want. And when you do that, you need to think of different things that you want, different relationships, different experiences, and you want to create a picture along with those relationships, along with those things, along with those experiences. You want to know how you are going to feel when those things come. What are you going to do? Who's going to be there with you? And you need to make a decision. Decide on what you want. If you're not making any decisions, then things are just randomly going to happen. However, if you sit there and you're so decisive, you're so curious, and you're so excited about something, that's truly deciding. And it's much more likely that that's going to happen than not happen. You're going to be able to predict the future when you're actually deciding what you want, as opposed to not making any decisions at all and letting other people do this for you. And that leads into the next thing, taking responsibility. Taking responsibility essentially means that you're taking your personal power back. What does that mean? That means that no person can make us feel something. How many times have you heard that? Someone said, oh, that person, they just make me so angry. They frustrate me so much. Is that even possible? The thing is probably that is a behavior inside of ourselves that we have to resolve if that person is frustrating us or angering us. We don't like something in them that we're creating within ourselves. So taking responsibility means that you're not pointing the finger at anybody or anything outside of yourself. What you're doing is you're taking your personal power back. You're not making any excuses. You're not saying that anything outside of you is affecting you just randomly. What you're doing is you're deciding, you're making a decision again, and you're going to design yourself on the inside to take your personal power back. This gives you empowerment. This gives you control over your choices, your decisions, and how you want to design everything. This puts you at cause. This gives you reasons for why you would have success. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer to have excuses or do you prefer to have reasons? Don't you think if you make clear decisions and you have your personal power back, that this gives you the opportunity to choose exactly what it is that you want with precision so you can create results that are predictable? You can predict the future when you take your personal power back because things won't happen randomly. If you're pointing the finger outside of people instead of focusing on what you can control, then you're leaving the future up to chance. You're not even willing to predict everything. And speaking of willing, you need to also have a willingness to learn and you want to be totally curious. You want to have that burning desire of curiosity inside of you. Every conversation that you enter, every time you're learning, you want to be curious. You want to be excited. So if you're not curious enough right now, think about a time in the past when you were totally curious. Drop down into your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and really feel the feelings of being totally curious. Good. Let that feeling intensify, and you can come back to now let go of that curious whenever you want. So anytime you want to feel more curious, you just have to tell yourself that you've experienced it in the past before. Now, speaking of learning, you want to learn from every single thing. Every moment is an opportunity to learn. And what does learning do? Everything that we do, everything that we want to do to predict the future and get predictable results, we want to give ourselves more choices. So when you're learning, this is opening up new choices, new opportunities, new possibilities. It's also going to help you develop things on the inside of you. And it's also going to help you create more of a network because you're going to be having such a curiosity to learn about new people. It's also going to give you new skills. And learning is also going to allow you to connect to the resources you already have inside of yourself. So you're starting to see how all of these things that I'm talking about, they're all going together. They're not random. They're all here so you can decide that you want all of them. And the more you do all of them, they're going to weave into each other and give you more and more. And learning, of course, that's going to totally change your mentality. And that's going to allow you to make more clear decisions. You're going to have total clarity so you can make such easy decisions. So every moment, every conversation, everything you read, everything you notice, everything you are aware of and curious about is going to give you an opportunity to learn. And that means you'll have new choices, new opportunities, new possibilities. You'll gain insights and understandings because you can. And another way that you can easily predict the future and create predictable results is you need to take action. This can be big, medium, small. It can be a thought. It could be something that you really want to do, that person that you really want to meet, buying a book, buying a course, doing some work, building that new network, creating more skills, creating more resources, changing your thinking. You need to, though, take action every single day. If you're not taking action in the physical, or action can also mean putting effort in your mind, designing yourself on the inside and designing the environment all around you, you need to be taking action every single day. And if you think about it, the more effort, the more hard work that you have to put in the physical is because you're not taking action, putting effort in your mind. So I would spend some thinking time every single day, designing yourself on the inside, deciding what you want, working on taking responsibility, and working on always having that curiosity. That's taking action as well. It doesn't mean that you have to work so hard, that you have to hustle, that you have to grind, and you have to do all those things that people talk about on social media. Team no sleep. No. Taking action can be putting effort in your mind, and the more you're doing that and designing everything you want, when you go to take action in the physical, it's going to be that much easier for you. And it's easy to take action when you also set goals that matter. So you need to set goals that are going to empower you, that are going to help you create momentum towards a compelling future. Make sure your goals are exciting for you and you're really curious about your goals. And you need to write down your goals. It's much more easy to predict the future when your goals are written down and they're in detail and you have pictures of your goals and you have a reward attached to your goal. Because if you can put a picture in your mind and then you can also picture that reward that you're going to have once you easily and effortlessly achieve your goal with precision because you decided and you designed yourself on the inside, so you're going to be totally ready to accept that goal, So accept everything that it brings, and then you're going to have a reward. That goal is going to be much more easy. So you're predicting the future in multiple ways. You're creating that goal consciously. Your unconscious mind is the goal getter, so it's going to get that goal for you. And because you already designed yourself on the inside, it's going to make deciding easy. You're going to take responsibility towards your goal, and you're going to be so curious about that goal that you'll want to achieve it because it really matters to you. So that all creates the future and predicts the future for you. And you're going to get yourself a reward for that goal. So when you get that reward, you're also creating the future again. You're achieving the goal. You know what that's going to look like, sound like, and feel like. And that reward, you're going to know what that looks like, sounds like, feels like, even smells or tastes like, and you'll probably even know what you're going to say to yourself. So you're predicting the future by creating success, achieving your goal, and getting the reward that you designed when you took action and you put that effort into your mind. I can't stress that enough. Put the effort in your mind. When you put the effort in your mind, you don't have to take so much action in the physical because you've thought this over. You know exactly what to do. You've asked your unconscious mind, how can I do this easily and effortlessly? That's what you want to do as well when you're designing everything that you want. You want to ask your unconscious mind, how can I do this easily and effortlessly? And then tell your mind to deliver the results. And then when you set goals that matter, then it's going to deliver the results. And I think if the results are being delivered and you're putting this effort in your mind, it sounds like everything's going to be pretty predictable for you. Don't you think? The other thing is you don't want to leave anything up to chance. Many people, they just, oh, I want to achieve this, and they don't really do much about it. It's like they don't even know the steps. They don't even follow a map. Nothing. And then they just hope it happens. And then time goes by, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. They're in the same place. They're making the same amount of money. They have the same types of relationships. They're driving the same car. They're not really traveling that much. No, you don't want to leave anything up to chance. You want to do all the things that I've mentioned. So success is predictable. You can predict the future when you think that you can predict the future. If you're not thinking about what it is you want, then the future is just going to happen to you. You want the future to happen and predict it because of you, because of all your thinking time, because of your decisions, because you take responsibility, because of your curiosity, because of the actions you take, and because you're setting goals that matter and creating those rewards that are making it so rewarding for you to achieve your goal. So there's no sense in leaving something as important as your future up to chance, because your future, it's going to affect all the people around you. Because if you think about it, what would happen if you do it? What would happen if you create your predictable future? What wouldn't happen if you don't create your future and predict it? So that'll show you some consequences as well. So what wouldn't happen if you create your predictable future, and what wouldn't happen if you don't create your predictable future? So if you ask yourself those questions, you're not going to be leaving things up to chance, because you're going to be able to weigh in your mind everything that should, shouldn't, couldn't happen. And you're going to be able to decide so easily that this is not something that you want to leave up to chance. You definitely want to do this, because this doesn't just affect you. It affects all the people around you. Every decision that we make, it can affect many people. Everything that we learn can affect many people. So why leave these things up to chance when you really have the opportunity, because of your skills, because of all the things that you know from listening to this? You have such a huge opportunity now to change yourself and change the environment of many people around you if you're willing to do these things. And the other thing that I think is important, it's not necessarily about you so much. It's about being there for other people. You want to make sure, if you want to predict your future, that you don't let others not solve their problems. If people are around you and you know that they can do better and you have the ability to help them do better, I'm not saying you have to do things for them and spend so much time and effort and attention on these people. However, if you truly see the potential in yourself don't you also want to be around people that see the potential in themselves as well? So you need to notice if people have the same problems, that you can help those people solve their problems. Because the quicker that you get better and the quicker other people get better, then your immediate environment's going to get better, the country you're in is going to get better, the world is just going to get better. So if you have compassion for people and you truly have compassion for people, then you're not doing them a service by not letting them solve their problems. You need to make sure that people around you are solving their problems, because then that's going to also help you predict your future, because you're going to be around people who are willing to put that effort in their mind, and they're going to be able to do all the things that I mentioned in this episode. So that's pretty much it. Those are the ways that you can easily and effortlessly predict your future. It sounds pretty fun to me, so think about how it sounds to you, how it makes you feel, and what you're starting to see about your future, knowing that you can make it much more predictable, that you can actually predict it if you do these things. Thanks so much for listening. Go ahead and rate the podcast wherever you are listening. I really appreciate it if you could also share this with someone who will benefit. It will really help it get into the minds of other people. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope to see you on the next episode.